For this next trick, the magician will use this ordinary soda can. He holds the can gently between the fingertips of both hands. He blows on the can, and suddenly, it begins to rise. Must be highly carbonated soda. He snatches it before it goes too high. Wait, now it's trying to escape again. If he's not careful, it will fly away for good. Looks like he's got it under control. Who knew that soda could be lighter than air? How did the magician make the soda can float? This secret isn't too hard to put your finger on. From the back, you can see that the can is actually attached to his right thumb by a flesh-colored plastic shell that magicians call a thumb tip. When his thumb is inside this tip, it's virtually invisible. At the end of the thumb tip is a clear rubber suction cup. This cup sticks to the can, and the magician is ready to create the illusion that the can is floating. From this angle, we can see that all he's doing is lifting the can with his thumb. With his fingers outstretched, all the magician has to do is use a little bit of pantomime to make it look like the can is floating away from him. Who knew that the secret to floating soda was all in the thumb?
Here's an illusion that's performed with different types of objects. We've decided to do it with a radio. The magician turns on the radio to show you that it's real. Now he picks up a leopard skin cloth. Please, no cards or letters. This is imitation leopard skin. He lifts up the cloth to show you that the radio is still there. Now the tray is taken away. Suddenly, the radio's gone. Impossible? Not really. First of all, the radio is real. It is also stuck to the tray. It appears that the magician is picking up the radio. But from this reverse angle, we can see that the assistant merely turns the tray and tucks it away from view. So how does the cloth retain the shape of the radio? There are actually two thin plastic rods woven inside the fabric. The magician pulls them tight to make it seem as if there is something underneath. It doesn't matter whether it's a radio, a ball, or some other object. This trick is always done the same way.
The magician will now demonstrate the power of mind over matter using this ordinary teaspoon. Watch carefully as he concentrates on the spoon, using his brain waves to make it bend before our very eyes. Amazing. And a bend that won't easily be straightened. This is one piece of silverware that's not going to fit back into the drawer, thanks to the power of the mind. Okay, so how did the magician bend this ordinary spoon with his mind? The secret is that the spoon isn't so ordinary. It's rigged with a spring at the center, so it will always curl up into this bent position. When the spoon appears to be bending by itself, the magician is just slowly releasing his grip on the spring, causing it to go from its open position back to its naturally bent position. The trick spoon does all the work. But how does it appear to be ordinary and ungimmicked when the magician shows how he can't straighten it? The secret here is that there are two spoons. The one with the spring that bends, and this one that is already bent. He keeps this identical bent spoon hidden in his hand at the start of the trick. See? He casually holds it in his palm while we are busy watching the other spoon. Once the spring-loaded spoon bends itself, the magician simply switches it for the duplicate bent spoon when he pretends to struggle with it. He's really using some sleight of hand to switch the spoons, leaving the one with the spring hidden in his palm. All he has to do now is show the bent spoon, and we believe he did it all with his mind. But we're smarter than that. Next, the magician will attempt a little close-up magic using an ordinary quarter. In case you're wondering, this authentic quarter is legal tender for all debts, public and private. The magician places the quarter into his mouth and appears to be taking a bite out of it. Take a closer look. Those are genuine teeth marks. That's one way to get your minerals and your money's worth at the same time. Now watch. He spits, he scores. The quarter is back in one piece. A neat trick for less than $1. So how does the magician bite a chunk out of the quarter, especially when we can't even see his teeth? And does he really spit the missing piece back out, restoring the quarter in front of our eyes? I wouldn't bet on it, not even 25 cents. Here's the secret. The real quarter has been rigged to bend, then spring back into place. When the top is folded back, it appears as though it has been bitten off. Here we see that when it looks like he's taking a bite, he's merely using his mouth to fold the coin, hiding the top part behind the bottom section. See, there's the folded piece. When he appears to spit the missing chunk and restore the quarter, he's simply releasing his thumb and allowing the top half to spring back into place. Ka-ching! No one suspects the rigged coin is simply unfolding before their eyes. And that's why he makes the big bucks. Now the masked magician will perform an illusion known as the box of pain. Only a true professional should attempt a dangerous trick like this. He opens the box to prove that it is completely empty. This is the unlucky assistant who must endure the box of pain. He makes her kneel down, then puts her head inside the box, where it remains for the entire trick. She has no idea what's in store for her. The box is closed, and her wrists are handcuffed together. Now for the sword. It is a real sword. In fact, it's so sharp it appears to glide straight through the box and into our assistant's head. Quite unpleasant. Now for the daggers. You can almost feel the assistant's pain as the first one is plunged into the box. Since the box is about the size of her head, the natural conclusion is that she's being impaled. She clenches her fist as another dagger is driven into the box. What did she do to deserve this? I can assure you that the assistant's head is inside the box and not behind it. It seems impossible that she's still alive, but she's still moving. That's a relief. Another dagger cuts through the box. Watch as she flinches in pain when the blade is inserted. It hurts just to look at it. Now the box is riddled with blades. But that doesn't stop our magician. There's always room for one more. The final blade is inserted. You might want to cover your eyes for the next part. It won't be pretty. But wait a minute. Her head is gone. A bizarre decapitation? Or just another trick from the masked magician? While it appears that there is no way to survive the box of pain, there actually is a logical explanation. As you can see, the box is much deeper than it appears from the front. This gives the magician plenty of room to insert the blades both in front of and behind our assistant's head. But how did he make it appear that our assistant had been decapitated? The answer is simple. Mirrors. While the magician distracts you with the handcuffs, his other assistants are actually sliding the mirrors into place on the top of the box. So instead of seeing our assistant's head, we are now seeing reflections of the inside walls of the box. From this angle, we can see the mirrors slide into place as our assistant shifts her head backward. The sword also plays an important role in this trick. It covers the seam between the two mirrors, creating the illusion that you are seeing all the way to the back of the box. As for the blades, they are carefully inserted into the box so they surround our assistant's head without cutting into her. The blades come so close that they actually pass through her hair. The doors are opened, and the optical illusion works to perfection. Pretty tricky, huh?
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. How to make a 110,000-pound army tank disappear. Other magicians have made large fixed objects vanish, like national landmarks, hotels, and even airplanes. But no matter what the object, they always perform the trick the same way. The tank rolls into position, and the engine is shut down. It would take nearly 5 full minutes to fire the tank back up so it could move again. So you know it couldn't just drive away. While the masked magician inspects the tank, his assistants begin to lock it down with heavy chains. The magician makes sure the chains are secured, while the assistants move to the front of the tank, where they attach still more chains. The chains are bolted to the ground. The tank is now completely locked down. The magician walks under the 20-foot-long cannon and takes one last look at the tank. Everything is set. In order to pull off this amazing illusion, the magician needs a little help from this magical picture frame. There are no camera cuts or special effects involved in the creation of this illusion. I can assure you that this is one continuous shot. We have merely gone from a wide angle to a close-up. He reaches through the magical picture frame to prove that this isn't merely a painting or a mirror. It isn't. As he pulls down the shade, you can see that it has a drawing of a tank on it, and not a particularly good one. Let me assure you the tank is bolted down and couldn't be moved in this amount of time. Presto. The tank has vanished. Where did it go? The magician walks over to the area where the tank used to be. How is it possible to make something that weighs 55 tons disappear into thin air, and so quickly? Don't worry, we'll let you in on the secrets. This is one disappearing act that is not done with smoke and mirrors. Here are the secrets. Once it is chained down, the tank never moves. Believe it or not, it stays in the exact same spot. This is the key to the trick. When we pull back, the secret is suddenly revealed. While the tank remains stationary, everything else moves. The magician, the camera, and the picture frame. They are all on top of a specially built platform that sits on wheels, so it can roll from its position in front of the tank to a matching location without the tank. You never feel the movement because everything is traveling together. Sometimes this trick is performed with a live audience present. I can tell you now that they are always in on it. When the shade is pulled, the assistants have only a few seconds to scramble into their new positions. Everything looks the same, the lights, the chains, the assistants, but the tank is now gone. Of course, we know that it's right where it was when the trick began, just 20 feet away. Here you can see the two identical locations. And that's how to make an army tank disappear, or any other large object.
This next trick is about as creepy as they come. It all centers around this circular seance table. We get it, there's nothing above and nothing below. Let's get this party started. Our lovely assistants enter and prepare to pull up a seat. But there's no poker in the cards for them. Some mystical movements and fancy fingerwork, and it's time to get down to business. Looks like the girls are really getting into it. Lucky for him, they're very hands-on. They could put a spell on me any day. Concentrate, fingers flat on the table, and what's this? They're certainly getting a rise out of it. And another. But this table hopping is a bit too much for them to take. How do you like that? He's a furniture mover. Now even the magician looks like he's having a hard time keeping it down. Gently. They say to make it in this business, you have to keep your feet on the ground. Good advice. Not a bad trick, unless you know the secret. Many magicians would like you to believe that they have supernatural powers. I can assure you that they don't. The magician begins the illusion by showing us that the table has no strings or mirrors, and there's nothing hidden in his hands. Although his hands are empty, what you don't see is that hidden up each sleeve is a steel rod that's held in place by a padded Velcro strap. The steel rods slip out with a flick of the wrist and can support the table, which is made of lightweight balsa wood. As the assistants distract us by taking their seats, the magician makes what looks like just another magical gesture. As he shakes his arms, he is actually causing the rods to slide out and lock into place. Pretty snappy. Hidden in the side of the table are two holes into which the rods fit perfectly. Trust me, it's not a coincidence. During the illusion, the assistants provide a little more delightful distraction, and the magician slips the rods into place. All that's left to do is for the magician to lift the table and use his acting skills to convince us that it's about to float away. But we won't get fooled again, now that we know the secrets.